for watching another episode of Ask Jason. In this episode, I'm actually just coming off a nice meditation, so I'm just still in that high level state of being in a meditative energy. So I just want to, go over some of the, levels when you're in a meditative state. Some of my experiences of what's been shown to me. You might have some similarities to. I've had people ask me a lot of questions, like when you get into that meditative state and you're seeing the other side, or you're interacting with energies that are the non-physical energies and so on. Like how many levels are there? How many dimensions are there? So what I've come to look at here is that I'm seeing that it seems to work on a set of 12 for some reason. So if I had to say how many dimensions to me, I believe that there's at least 12. We're working 12 hours on the clock, or 12 months in the year. The 12, even with the Jesus story, if you research some of that, that's that 12 around one. That's that 12 energies, 12 aspects of you. I believe there's a metaphor there as well. With a lot of the religions and so on, I don't take everything so literally. I do feel there's a lot of metaphoric energy there as well. So 12 energies or aspects of you around the 13th being, which is you, which is coming out of a shell or coming out of the cocoon to blossom into that butterfly that you are, that light being, right? That rainbow being. So what you're really doing is it's like you're traveling up a spiral. Now, when I was a kid, I would sit in my bed sometimes, I'd close my eyes, and I could feel this energy. I would actually spin. I could feel the energy spinning. So I was very young at the time. I didn't realize what it was. And as I started to develop this stuff, I started to recall. I was like, man, I used to do that as a kid. And when you do this now as an adult, it's almost like you have to start to remember, right? So it's not actually always going outside of yourself. Actually, meditation is more inward. It's an inner. We always think we got to go up high or out, right? So it's going in. It's almost like a inversion, right? So there's a lot of things, like even with Dan Winter's got a lot of great stuff out there with the toroid energy, right? And the even when you come out of the body, and that's why I talk about a lot of the stuff with clearing, even clearing a lot of the programs, getting rid of all that programming, the religious aspects, because when you do come out of the body, right? So we always think that we're this physical form, that you're actually a stream of energy. You're actually a line, a life stream of energy, and that's going to come out, and it's going to gravitate, and it's going to get pulled, because we're electromagnetic beings, and it's going to pull to the same frequency that you're matching at that time. So it's really good to do a lot of your work here now, so that you get pulled into the next level, right? So let's just say, I'm not saying this is for sure, but let's just say that there are 12 levels to this. Okay, so the way that I've set it up is basically, so if we're in a cube, so there's been some talk about the cube energy. So we've got, say, 12 layers to it, and we're basically the energy of the physical bodies on the third level. And I do believe that the cube is split as well. So you've also got the dualistic energy. So you've got the good and the bad, right? So even as you start to travel up this cube, we've got the ego energy, which is still running through both sides. The 12th energy, and then you get into the other frequencies, the other energy layers. Okay, I do believe that. This is just another concept that this actual cube is been replicated within the cube. So there are these other lower frequencies that are actually playing with a lot of light workers that they're misguiding them. So there's a lot of deception. So that's why I was talking about that great book about masquerading as angels, because these darker light beings, because they are dark, but they will masquerade and look like a light being. They actually play within here. So what they'll do is they're trying to lock you in or trap you in to stay at a certain frequency so that you don't exit the cube. They don't want you leaving the containment, because this is where everybody's playing and everybody's having a good time. But when you start to get into these higher levels, it's almost as if when you're coming out of the body, the energy is going to spiral. So you start to have this spiraling effect, and basically on what the energy that you're matching is on which side of the cube you're going to play. So depending on your belief system, that's why I say don't have any this is basically my rules of thumb. Don't have any attachment, no judgment, and no resistance to your experience. That pertains to everything. So have no attachment to an ascended master. Have no attachment to archangels. Have no attachment to angels. Have no attachment to... So you could play with them. You could talk to them. You could be around them. But it doesn't mean that you have to... That's all that it is. That's not what it's about. You have to... You're one energy. Your frequency is in here learning a lesson that, yes, this energy is outside of you. This is a mirroring energy. So when you get into these aspects, when you're looking at the angel and the demon, or the daemon, the demon energy, or these lower frequencies, what they do is that they are on the 12th dimension as well. There is a 12th aspect of that. There's a lot of King Solomon stuff if you wanted to research some of the information on him when he was actually invoking these energies, that he would actually have to invoke, if he wanted to invoke the lower aspect, the counterpart he had to invoke as well in order to control that energy. So these two frequencies, this is just a concept that I have, are on the same level. Okay, so and they run right up and down the cube. So when you're spiraling into these frequencies, you may come across a shaman. You may come across another frequency that's a match to you. That could be a guide. That could be an ET. Could be an Arcturian, a Pleiadian, a Sirian. Whatever frequency it is, I'm under the impression, because when I'm feeling this and when I go through those areas, that it is an aspect of me, or it's an integrated part of me on a different timeline or a different time frame, because there is no time here. You're entering into timelessness, formlessness. Okay, so the only area that time is existing is on the third, right? So we've got time here. So going up through these levels, it does take some time. It's it's not just going to happen overnight. Now, depending on your life plan and why you incarnated at this time, you may not have a lot of this programming. A lot of star kids, a lot of crystal kids, and so on don't have a lot of this pre-programming. So they actually are pulling through a lot of this into the third dimension. And they're starting to see things. They're starting to see their Arcturian selves or Pleiadian selves or their feeling frequencies. They're talking in light languages. They're talking in different languages that don't even exist on the planet. They're actually integrating a lot of this energy. There's a lot of kids out in China where they're actually putting their hands through walls, or they're actually doing a lot of stuff with their intuitive abilities, where they're moving objects and telekinesis and so on. So they're integrating these other aspects of who they are, which is basically the 12 aspect around the one, right? So we've got the 12 different areas, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is around the 13th being, right? So depending on how much you've done your work and how much you're doing your meditations and so on, you may ping out or play with one or two, right? And then the next month or the next year, you're playing around with these guys. And then I can tell you with when I started to do a lot of the seeking stuff, and that's why I caution a lot of people when you get into these seeker modes that you don't want to have attachment into the stuff that you're looking at. You just want to be an observer. You want to be able to take what you need and just leave the rest. And then it may not pertain to you now, and maybe at a certain stage where you start to develop a little bit more, it may start to make sense. So then you'll start to integrate into another aspect, right? I know with me there was a lot of stuff doing with Zen stuff. I had a lot of Zen Buddhist type of stuff. I was researching a lot of that, and I was just gravitating to it a lot. And even when I was talking to people, I was talking like that. And basically, I was doing a clearing, and I was in a meditation, and this was a couple of years back. And somebody had looked at me, and they had said that my face was starting to shift, like they could see the energetic, but I was shifting into all these lifetimes that I was a monk, and I was a Buddhist, and all these different Zen qualities that I was attaining to. So I know I've had, in my past incarnations, there was a lot of Zen incarnations. So once I started to clear all that, I could tell you, I had a big energetic clearing, and a lot of those energies started to leave me, and it's funny. It's like I don't really gravitate too much more to that because it's not in my field anymore, and now I'm getting more clear. I'm releasing a lot of this debris. Now, it does help and assist you to get to the next level, and I believe in my life plan, I said, okay, I still want to keep that next to me, because I know the last lifetime it helped me out, so I wanted to keep those virtues and the stuff that I learned in those lifetimes. So, and I know in this lifetime, it's all about clearing, clear. You're never fully cleared. If if you were, then you wouldn't be here. So the reason why you're here is to, we keep talking about ascension and so on, and to me, it's just basically awakening. You're awakening to your multidimensional self. You're awakening to the cube. You're actually awakening to the game. You're awakening to the actual control factors, which are locking, right? This is what they're doing in here, is actually squaring the circle. So they're locking and they're trapping light. You're a light being. So they're using techniques and different high-level magic and so on to be able to control the frequency within the body. And that's why there's a lot of things about, with the GMOs and the stuff that we're putting out to suppress the electromagnetic frequency. So when you're starting to awaken to this information, you're starting to see. You can actually start to see things. A lot of synchronicity is going to start to happen. You're going to even see things in music. There's a lot of stuff where, like even music, you can actually see some of the wording, the repetitiveness on how it's starting to. It's like a program. Right? They're constantly docking, right? I've talked about this in other episodes. Docking within the ears, docking within the eyes. So when you're interacting with the frequency, especially in a meditative state, it's very good to be grounded. You can use crystals to get up into these different higher levels and so on. Within each of these different frequencies or these different layers, there are, to me, it's like rooms or chamber rooms or areas of interest that you can actually go into. There's libraries, there's teaching rooms, that type of thing. And you basically, once you get into those states, you just sit. It's really good to have a recorder because you can talk when you're in a meditative state too. It's not really good to just pass out, get into a trance and so on. I can tell you an example of what happened with me when I first started doing this. Is back in the day when I was more like a child at this. I was still in my 30s and so on, but I was with a buddy of mine, and we were. His house is very active. He's got a lot of portals and vortexes and so on. So we're just sitting in there, and we started to get into a meditative state. And I was in this. I don't need to protect myself. I don't need to. I'm the ultimate being. I'm good. I'm fine. Let's just get into this and start playing. So I ended up getting into that state. But what happened is that I went from here, which is from 3D, and I shot right up all the way up to this aspect really quickly. And I can tell you this: when you get into these higher levels, the room becomes very cold. My body was shaking like crazy. My legs were. I was actually sitting down, so it felt like a big anchored energy that was holding me and grounding me down. And when I had touched this other aspect of me, it was to me it was very bright. And when I came back, it was like an elastic band had been pulled, and then it shot back down. And when I came back into my body, it was too fast. And I basically I was all discombobulated. I actually felt like I was drunk or high, and he took me outside. This is just my buddy I was working with at the time. He was a healer. So I'm outside, and I had to put my feet in the grass. But even the sun, I couldn't even look at the sun. The sun was actually throwing me off. I couldn't get grounded, so I was using crystals. Shungite's a very good crystal. If you ever get yourself in that situation, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But I was actually messed up for 4 weeks. I even speech, I was like talking, I couldn't really, I was all over the place. So that is just a caution for you guys to know that you got to do this in increments. You can't just take off. I know it was a learning lesson for me at the time because everything is basically to keep you going into the next direction. But baby steps. Shoot me an email. Let me know how you're doing. If you need